Yo, what is going on, you guys? Bastion YGO here, and today I'm coming at you with a deck I have not touched in a while, mainly because of a lot of banless hits, but we're going to be hitting up Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc, or the Bird Up deck. So this deck was actually one of the best decks in the format, I believe early this year, if not late last year, and it was actually going rampant all over the meta, just making a lot of ridiculous plays. But with the banning of Simorg, the Link 3 bird that could just special summon, I believe you special summon the barrier statue for free from your deck, if I remember correctly, or you could special you can special summon either barrier statue of Stormwinds, or you could special summon the Apex Avian to give you a negate on board, on top of a banish, on top of other interruptions as well, which is making this deck absolutely insane. So some more got hit. The Recital Starling got hit over here, but in the most recent emergency ban list that we just got, we actually got the Recital Starling up to 2, and I just realized I'm showing my whole face on here. I'm not showing the exact cards. Let me go ahead and get to that right now. This card right up here. There you go. You can see it. So Lyrilusc Recital Starling. Why is this card so good? Why was it even banned to begin with? So the main issue with this is that it made Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc, or Lyrilusc in general, just way too consistent of a engine to go ahead and use to be able to not only give you 3 searches per turn of level 1 winged beast monsters, but it also gave you easy access to a very powerful boss monster for the deck, which actually was Utopic F-Zero, number F-Zero Utopic Draco Future, I should say. So this card is actually insane to go ahead and play with, has so many incredible qualities it has about it. So it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects right off the bat. Really good effect. Not even reading the rest of it. Just cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. 3000 attack, 2k defense, beat stick. Once per turn when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can detach a material, negate the activation, and then if that monster is on the field, you gain control of it, which would be crazy to go ahead and use in the current format, and that's exactly why it's in this deck, guys. So there's a lot of different ways you can go ahead and play this deck. This is probably going to be the most consistent way that I found for it, but don't take my word for it, guys. Definitely go ahead and test this out for yourselves, and you're going to see this is going to be the best version for Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get right into the video. So we're starting off with the monsters, guys. We have 3 copies of Tri-Brigade Fractal, of course, 3 copies of Nerval, 2 copies of Kuras, and 2 copies of Kit. The Kuras and the Kits have gone up in count value. The reason for that is, if you see my previous Bird Up deck profiles, I only played 1 and 1, I believe, maybe 2 Nerval. No, I think 3 Nerval. I was bugging if we're playing less than 3. But Kuras and Kit have gone up. The reason for that is that with the amount of milling that you're going to be doing, not just yourself, but your opponent as well, you want to always have at least 1 copy of each in the main deck for your first turn playing, I should say. So that's something that I've thought about quite a bit. So something that I had to go ahead and bump up the ratios for the Kuras and the Kit, just to have a little more consistency on that end as well. So if you're going second and your opponent activates an Agito or a Kelbeck, whatever, and they start milling from the top of your deck, now you have a way to go ahead and make sure that you have still resources in your deck to go ahead and make sure that your first follow-up play is going to be just as successful, if not that's also more consistent as well. So that is going to be the Tri-Brigade ratio. For the Lyrilusc cards, we play 3 copies of Warbler, 3 Cobalt Sparrow, 2 of the Sapphire Swallow, 2 of the Barrel Canary, and 1 of the Celestine Wagtail. So why exactly these ratios? Why am I not playing 3 Sapphire Swallow, 3 Canary, 3 Wagtail? Wagtail, whether it's in the graveyard or you special summon from your hand, as long as you special summon her, you're going to be just fine, and you're able to get the effect to search out your bird call. You get just 1 because you can easily go ahead and search her out with either Cobalt Sparrow, or you can search her out with Recital Starling, I should say, and it's essentially it's not going to be the biggest component for your deck. You don't need to play more than 1. Like I said, even if it gets milled, you special summon it back with Barrel Canary, or you find another way to do it. Celestine Wagtail is definitely not something I would put at more than just 1. Sapphire Swallow is really good, but you need to have specifically a Winged Beast monster on the field in order to activate her effect, which is slightly limiting, I will say. So you have that to look forward to. It's still a phenomenal extender. You search her when you need her, but having 2 is going to be really nice. And the Barrel Canary, one thing I don't like about Barrel Canary is that it locks you in the XCs when summoning her, so you really want to go ahead and time her appropriately. This is one way that the deck does clash, I want to say, with the Barrel Canary and the Bear Brim, because Bear Brim then locks you into, I believe, Tri-Brigades, whereas Barrel Canary then locks you into straight XZ. So you have to either pick one or the other per turn. But Bear Brim, you're only going to activate once in the duel, and then your first turn, and you're done, and you're done with her effect. Whereas Barrel Canary, you have a lot more utility with her. You can go ahead and keep summoning Recital Starlings or the Lyrilusc Assembled Nightingale. I was really trying to find space for the Ensemble Robin. Unfortunately, I could not find it in this deck, but we'll get to that when we get to the extra deck. So, rest of the monsters, we play 3 DD Crow. DD Crow is probably the best hand trap this deck has ever played. Not only can you search DD Crow with the greatest of ease because it's a level 1 winged beast, so it'll immediate synergy with all of the Lyrilusc cards, and also a Shurag, which as long as you have one banished beast before or wing beast or BBW, thanks Kali effect for the abbreviation. You can easily go ahead and search this guy out for free, essentially. Just being able to go ahead and make sure that you have that consistency. Searching out your hand traps is key, but also DD Crow being as effective a hand trap as he is in the current format, I definitely believe it's going to be a 3 of. And then the last monster we are playing is the Fabled Cerberus. So, I have never been a really big fan of the Fabled cards in this deck. However, the way the current format is going, this is pretty much not really, the format doesn't care what I think anymore. I think the format just wants to do its own thing, and now we have to then adjust to the format. So we are playing the Fabled Cerberus for one reason and one reason only. That's going to be to synchro summon for the Herald of Arclight, which pretty much states any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the GY is banished instead. When a spell the rest is irrelevant, it's an Omni Negate, it's really cool, whatever. But the first part of the effect is what's really going to be essential in making sure that we have essentially a fighting chance, to be perfectly honest with you, against the Shieldmate Ishizu matchup, because any monster they go ahead and mill after that, it's going to be immediately banished, making it really good, and they can also negate whatever shenanigans your opponent might have, which is something that they're going to have to bait out, so do be careful with that. But that's why we play so many other cards in the deck as well to help prevent that from happening. You play your Shurags as interruption, Tri-Brigade Revolts, your Imperms, your DD Crows, anything that's going to be able to hurt your opponent, your F-Zero. So we do have enough interruption to help save this for last, which is something you're going to want to keep in mind as well. But overall, this is a phenomenal way to go ahead and make sure that you're elevating Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc to the next level, modernizing the deck in a way that's definitely going to make it a lot more competitive and a lot more viable in the current format. For the spells, we played 3 copies of Tenki. We finally have 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki. I don't think that this deck has ever had 3 copies of Tenki in the main deck ever. Because I'm pretty sure when Bird Up first came out, Tenki was at 1. Then it went to 2 when they tried to make it a little bit more viable. And then it went to 3. So this is the most consistent deck's ever been. I think the only time it's had a 3 was in like Master Duel, which I don't really play that anymore, to be perfectly honest with you guys. I do play every now and then when I go on vacation just because I don't have my laptop in front of me and I miss playing the game, but it is what it is. That's enough about me. Next, 3 copies of the Lyrilusc Bird Call. Bird Call is a phenomenal card for any Lyrilusc based strategy. Basically, take a Lyrilusc monster from your deck, add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, then you can special summon one Lyrilusc monster with a different name from your hand. You can only activate hard once per turn, but that's perfectly fine. You can go ahead and activate this effect, send Cobalt Sparrow, special summon the Turquoise Warbler from your hand, or do a whole bunch of other shenanigans as well. Just being able to consistently gain advantage with your Lyrilusc cards. Being able to send Winged Beast monsters to the graveyard as well is absolutely clutch with the Tri-Brigade monsters, with Tri-Brigade strategy, I should say. So that's really good. That way it all just synergizes very well in the big little melting pot. So next we got 1 copy of the 1-for-1, 1 copy of Foolish Burial, and 1 copy of Called by the Grave. Obviously 1-for-1, you play a whole bunch of level 1 monsters. All your Winged Beasts get your Sparrow going. You can special summon the Nerval if you're in the tight pinch. Foolish Burial, self-explanatory. I mean, you send Nerval or you send Kit and you get all these effects, or you can go ahead and send the Cobalt Sparrow if you have a Warbler in your hand, and you immediately have full combo right there. Next, 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. This is essential in this format, I think. I think most decks are definitely going to have to play the Triple Tactics Talent at 3. The reason why I say that, guys, is there's so many effects are being activated during either player's turn. And I mean, we've all seen the memes, Ishizu tier element, it's our turn. So with that being said, also with cards like, with decks like Fluanderies, also activating effects during your turn, Sprite activating bestial monsters effects during your turn as well. These are all things that can definitely happen, so just being able to have Triple Tactics talent and gain that much more advantage, not just hand knowledge, being able to draw 2 cards, gaining hand advantage, being able to take your opponent's monster, boss monster if even. So those are all really fantastic things you can definitely do. So I think Triple Tactics talent is definitely going to be a 3 of, and you definitely want to maximize on board breakers if possible. Now the space on this deck is a little bit tight, unfortunately, so we don't have too much wiggle room for that, but we do play other board breakers as well, such as Infinite Impermanence. I am this close to making this into a Dark Ruler no more, but it being a hand trap, it is helpful if you draw it going second, and that you can hopefully, with, again, Fluandri is running rampant as well, negate their Eaglin, negate their Robina, whatever it might be, and then you can go ahead and go about your day. And then to wrap up the deck, we will play 1 copy of the Tri-Brigade Revolt, which of course is the one, well, probably the best way of interruption that the deck has, besides now Herald of the Arclight. So with that being said, we play a 41 card main deck, guys, 25 monsters, 12 spells, and 4 traps as well. Now let's get on to the extra deck, which gets the blood pumping. We play 1 copy of the Ferajit, 1 copy of the Bearbrum. Really all you need. You're never going to summon these guys out ever again past your first turn. 2 copies of the Shurag as well. 1 Liked Heart. I was this close to putting in Salamangreat Almirage. It's really a close call whether you put in the Liked or the Almirage. I think both have their pros and cons and advantages and disadvantages. I went with Liked Heart just because with the amount of milling you're going to be doing, you're always going to have a BBW in the graveyard. In order for you to go ahead and summon out at least 1 Link monster from your extra deck, in the event you get into like one of the worst pickles that you could have with Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc. Let's be honest here, when you draw the Kuras and nothing else. So you normally summon the Kuras, you banish something, summon the Light Heart, and then you're good to go. You can more or less do a little something there. 1 copy of the Ancient Warriors, 1 Appaloosa, and Access Code Talker. These of course are staples. Appaloosa is going to be the essential part of any end board with any Tri-Brigade build, especially with Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc, because the Lyrilusc just gives you so many more bodies on board for free, essentially. So being able to make Appaloosa with 4 negates is almost unheard of anymore in the current formats. You really don't I don't really see Appaloosa being summoned nearly as much as she used to be, but that's because of course this deck was pretty much the main driving force of Appaloosa, at least when I started playing again. So with that gone, you know, hinder the effects, whatever it might be, I think still Appaloosa is a phenomenal card and definitely will pair up very, very nicely with the Access Code Talker. Next we play 1 copy of Lyrilusc Nightingale and 2 copies of the Recital Starling. So excited to see this card back at 2. It gives the deck so much more freedom, so much more consistency, and it overall makes it absolutely fantastic. The other card that you were using to substitute this was either the Kikigashi Fuko, or you could also go with the Sylvan Sprite Princess or Sprints, whatever the card you used in what's that deck called, in Spirals. So that was the alternative solution back in the day, but now we have Recital Starting, so we're good to go. Next, the F-Zero package. I've seen a few people cut this. Honestly, I'm such a big fan of this package that I do not want to let it go. In the event you hate this package, which is perfectly understandable, no harm feeling, no harm. My feelings will not be harmed. If you don't like the F-Zero package, it's perfectly fine. You can put in an Ensemble Robin and put in a Doom Eagle. And that's also very, very good package to go ahead and play in this deck. Synergize fantastic with it if you don't like the F-Zero or don't have the F-Zero package. Those are really good alternatives as well. And then, of course, to wrap off the Xyz, we do play the 1 copy of the AA Zeus Sky Thunder. Of course, I mean, you're playing Xyz, you're Xyz summoning a lot. This is an essential card going up against any rogue tier strategy or anything that is not start with Ishizu or tier lemons. This is going to be super clutch. And of course, we already explained the Herald of the Arclight, which is insanely clutch and essential to beating the Ishizu tier lemon strategy, which again is going to be running rampant everywhere, so might as well stay prepared. So Now that is going to be it for the Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc deck profile, guys. If you guys want to see combo videos, let me know in the comment section down below. Some test hands as well. We could maybe you know, dabble a little bit in that, just so you can go ahead and get an example or a glimpse of what the deck can essentially do. We can go ahead and take it from there. But if you guys did enjoy, go ahead and leave a like on the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.